What do you know? What do you know, YouTube? I'll tell you what I know. I've had a couple inquiries about Hometime, and I figure what a better time than now to discuss Hometime, because I'm on my way home. I'll be home tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be there for about 10 days for Thanksgiving. And so I figure I better put a video out before I do go home. And like I said, we might as well discuss it since I've been asked it a couple of times now. So what I do running a lease truck and how I balance out Hometime with, you know, running and making money, because that's what we're out here to do, is generally, and like I said, generally, this is what I do. Now, what I do may not work for you. I think a lot of it is, you know, might have a little bit more to do with where you're based out of. But honestly, I think how I run would probably work just about anywhere in the lower 48. I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't work everywhere. But anyway, what I do is I'm home every other weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. I leave on Monday. I run all the way through the weekend, and I'm home Friday afternoon. Now, I will say, while I'm out, I don't do a reset at all. I manage my hours. I run consistent hours across the board all the way until I get home. I run every day till I get home. Now, I will say that there are certain circumstances where I will alter from that schedule a little bit. For instance, like right now, when I get home tomorrow, I will have ran 19 days. Basically 3 weeks almost. I left the Monday after Halloween, and I'm going home the Friday before Thanksgiving. So the reason why I did that, and the reason why I altered from my schedule, was I know that I'm going home 10 days for Thanksgiving. I also know that I'm going home 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's. So when I leave the house after Thanksgiving, the Monday after Thanksgiving, I'm going to run 3 weeks again and get home the Friday a week before Christmas. That way I've got a week of being able to go Christmas shopping and all that before Christmas hits. And then I go home that same 2 weeks every year. I'm going to add that too. I go home the last 2 weeks of the year every year as a lease operator. And my reason for that is that gives me the last 2 weeks of the year to finalize my numbers, to go back through bank statements and make sure that I didn't miss any expenses along the way through the year. Basically, I close my books out. When I go home for Christmas, I've made all the money I'm going to make for the year, and I close my books out. So that's what works for me. Every other weekend, it worked for me when I ran a lease truck with Prime. It's what I find that works the best running a lease truck with Schneider. I did try the whole home every weekend, but as for where I'm based out of, it didn't work so well for me. The revenue was very inconsistent. What I have found is all the better paying freight is east and up in the Midwest. So when I leave the house, those are the areas that I go, and I basically stay in those areas until it's time to come home. So like I said, I tried the every other weekend thing. It didn't work so well. Now, if you know how to plan, you know, and know ahead of time, like what you, you know, things that you have going on, and, you know, when you need to be home, you know, for birthdays and or anniversaries or whatever, you know, you can kind of plan it out, you know. Like if you know that you got to be home a certain weekend, run 3 weeks and then go home, you know. If you've got your revenue, you know, your finances in order, and you can afford, you know, to go home 2 weekends in a row, go home 2 weekends in a row. That's the thing about being self-dispatched. You can do that. When I ran for Prime, I was one of the drivers that was on their what they call load selection board. So I was able to kind of route myself through the house, even with Prime. With that being said, so when I went home with Prime, I always would find a load out of the Midwest going to Texas that would take me through the house for the weekend. I didn't just go home, and that's the same with Schneider. Generally, if I go home, or when I go home on the weekends, I've got a load behind me. I'm just dragging that load with me through the house. I'm picking it up on Friday. I'm going to the house for the weekend, and Monday morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to run that load and go deliver it. Either Monday or Tuesday I'll deliver it. You know, however it works out. But that is what I have found that works for me. I find that it is a good balance of home time and OTR. You know, a lot of guys want to come out here, or a lot of drivers want to come out here, and they, you know, their main focus is go home, go home, go home. If you're going into an OTR industry, you kind of got to understand that you can't go home every weekend. Not saying that everybody can't go, you know, like there might be, you know, people that live in really great areas and they can go home every weekend. But that's not going to work for everybody. So, like I said, I feel like 12 days out and 3 days at the house is a fair trade-off. It's a good balance. Kind of how I manage my situation. I'm married. I got 3 kids. I run for 12 days, and just as soon as I hit that front door at the house, I do everything that my wife and kids want to do. If you go home and you sit in a recliner and you're just lazy the whole time you're home because you're tired or wore out, whatever, you're gonna find that you're gonna be miserable. Your wife is not gonna be happy with you, you know. So you got to make time for your wife and kids, and when you go home, focus on them. You know, leave the highway behind you and go do whatever they want to do. That's how I work. My wife will come pick me up from the truck. Just as soon as we hit the driveway, I go in, take a shower, and I guarantee you probably 95% of the time, just as soon as I get out of that shower, she's got somewhere she wants to go, and by golly, we go. Like I said, that's what works for me. 12 days out, 3 days at their 3 nights. It's not even 3 days, it's 3 nights. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night at the house. Unless I need to kind of schedule around something. But other than that, that's what works for me. So I'm headed to the house, y'all. I'll be home tomorrow. So I probably won't put a video out until I come back out after the holidays. I still got a couple of comparison videos I want to do. I want to do a Prime lease versus a Schneider or an SFI lease. I also want to do a dry van versus flatbed. I think that's a pretty good comparison that people need to understand too. So if y'all have any questions or ideas, put them down in the comments. Let me know what you think. If it's something I feel like I can add my 2 cents on it, I'll do a video on it. we'll talk about it. So if you like the material I'm putting out, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, follow the journey, and y'all be safe and have a happy Thanksgiving.